Big day here today on this Tuesday, Election Day. It is 6 a.m. I'm Eric Connors.
And I'm Vanessa Paz. Let's go ahead and toss it over to meteorologist Evan Arani with a check on your forecast. Great voting weather.
Yes.
I actually did see that Barack Obama on the ballot
I
and
saw
was
it
curious
too.
about it.
I saw it too, and I was like, wait a minute.
It's a great tease. Now I'm like, who is he? Is it really?
It's a good story too.
Exactly.
I read through the story. I was like, oh.
We are tracking a fair amount of cloud cover out there for your primary election day. Clouds are extending from the coast to our inland valleys. They're not too low down to the ground, so when it comes to visibility, we're actually looking pretty good out there. Ramona is one of the only trouble spots to watch for, where visibility is down to less than half a mile. We're at about a third of a mile right now. By the afternoon, we're going to keep a warm up going. 70 out by the coast, upper 70s inland and toward the mountains, and 103 across the deserts. Wednesday and Thursday will be even warmer, and then a cool down comes by the weekend. We'll have more details on that, as well as a look at the 7-day forecast in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Today is the day. It is Election Day. Polls open in less than 1 hour now. Californians will decide who advances to November in one of the state's most wide open governor's races in years.
Yeah, and we have team coverage this morning. News 8's Chris Groh joins us live in studio with a closer look at the governor's race. But we start with News 8's Tori Apodaca, who is live from the Register of Voters with everything that you need to know in case you haven't voted just yet. What are those details? Hey, Tori.
Hi, good morning. The gates just opened here, but the polling places, they will open at 7 a.m. and stay open until 8 p.m. Keep in mind, you're going to want to be standing in line before 8 p.m. in order for your vote to count. Across the county, though, there are 220 vote centers and more than 150 ballot drop boxes. Vote centers offer more than just a place to cast a ballot. The Register of Voters says that the centers also provide accessible voting equipment, multilingual assistance, and same-day voter registration services. Those voters will be able to conditionally register and cast a provisional ballot. Mail-in ballots are also still an option today. If you do choose to use the mail, it must be postmarked by June 2nd and received within 7 days. But election officials encourage voters to use a drop box or vote center if possible. As of May 31st, over 2 million mail-in ballots had gone out in San Diego County, with a 22% voter turnout. The Register of Voters says that San Diego typically sees a 34.88% voter turnout when it's a gubernatorial primary. We spoke with the Register of Voters ahead of the day.
There'll be lines on Election Day. People tend to wait until the last day of voting on June 2nd, Tuesday, but we strongly encourage people to take advantage of the early voting.
Yeah, of course, that's what's always encouraged, to vote early. But if you haven't, of course, you still have that option today. Again, the polling locations open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. You can head to our website, cbs8.com, to find an interactive map to see which vote centers are closest to where you live. And of course, this is a wide open race for governor, as we are continuing to see all of the different candidates campaigning up and down the state. Let's go ahead and send it over to Chris Groh, who is live in studio with what the latest polls are showing for that race.
Good morning, Tori. And look, all of those candidates continuing to make their final push. They haven't dropped out yet, so they are going to see this through here, including many of them polling in the single digits. But really, 3 have begun to separate themselves. In fact, 3 major polls back that up right before primary day. And although the results are different, what we are seeing is one constant theme. Javier Becerra, the Democrat, seen as the front runner with some combination of Democrat Tom Steyer and Republican Steve Hilton following up. In fact, in an Emerson poll just recently released, Steyer and Hilton only separated by a percentage point. So the big question is, will we see 2 Democrats go on to the general election, Becerra and Steyer, or will it be a traditional race, some combination of either Steyer or Becerra versus Republican Hilton? And if so, again, which Democrat? For a while, it was seen as a possibility that it could be 2 Republicans and move on to the general because it was such a crowded field amongst Democrats. However, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco has fallen precipitously after debates and after Hilton received the endorsement of President Donald Trump. Hilton has even called for Bianco to drop out. Now, something you may have heard of in this race, strategic voting. Voters, especially Democratic ones, have been doing this. So why have we seen that? Here's election data expert Paul Mitchell.
Who among the candidates that might be able to win am I most aligned with? And so that has pushed a lot of voters towards either Becerra or Steyer, a lot of the Democratic voters. And on the Republican side, some of the same math has pushed Hilton up. Becerra became a front runner what seems like 15 minutes ago. He didn't get a chance to do a lot of spending on what his biography is, tell voters who he is, months ago. He's having to do that here at the tail end of the campaign.
Access to health care.
Yeah, and remember, it was seen that after former Congressman Eric Swalwell dropped out, that Becerra got a lot of that support that was behind Swalwell. Now, because it's such a tight race, it could be until Friday that we see who the final two that move on to the general are. Eric?
All right, thank you for that, Chris. Many Californians are still deciding who to vote for. The state set a new record in the number of people registered to vote, 23.1 million Californians, according to the Secretary of State's office. But many are waiting until the very last minute to cast a ballot. A recent poll by UC Berkeley shows that when it comes to the race for governor, about 7% of voters who plan to cast a ballot are still undecided. While that translates to tens of thousands of voters statewide, that number of undecided voters was actually double just a few weeks earlier. In the meantime, some others have made their choices, but still need to submit their ballot.
I think everyone has their own individual reason to vote, but it is our civic duty. And that's essentially my primary motivation.
If you're not registered, you can visit any vote center to conditionally register and vote provisionally. Latino voters could help decide who moves on in California's race for governor. Experts say Latinos make up 40% of the state's population and about a quarter of its voters. Yet nearly a third remain undecided, making the community a critical swing vote. However, experts say Latino voters do not vote as a single bloc, with support split across the leading candidates.
You will see Barack Obama on the ballot in the race for governor, but we're not talking about the former president. A candidate named Barack D. Obama Shaw from Alameda is running to lead California. He says that he was inspired by former President Obama and legally changed his name back in 2013. He is running as a Democrat and is one of the 61 names you will see on the ballot. Well, make sure that you're downloading the CBS 8 app and streaming our extended primary election coverage today. That starts at 8:15 p.m. But of course, you can watch all morning today as well as through the afternoon. We'll have reporters with candidates as the polls close, plus live results, breaking updates and analysis. We'll also have the latest developments overnight, tomorrow morning, as well, starting at 5 a.m.
Yes,
so
your
join
civic
us bright
duty.
and early.
Yes, get it done. We will be compiling all the latest information because sometimes those numbers roll into the next morning, so we'll have all the latest for you.
Especially with those tighter races.
Right.
Oh,
when
yeah.
It's neck and neck. You might have to wait till tomorrow morning for an actual answer of who's in the lead or who's likely to win. In some cases, it takes until the following morning to call some of those. So tomorrow will be a big day to learn more about what the people of California have decided. We look live outside here from the La Jolla area at overcast skies. Sunrise was at 5:41, and since then it's just been gray. May gray now transitioning to June gloom, allowing for that morning marine layer to join us, and then by each mid-morning we see it pull back and warm us up. Quite a bit of warming expected, not only today but for many of the days ahead. Wednesday and Thursday we'll get some additional boosts in temperatures. Santee and El Cajon could make it to 80 for this afternoon. San Ysidro 73, 71 in downtown San Diego, and some upper 60s from PB through La Jolla, Solana Beach, Encinitas. 71 for Carlsbad, 80 for Escondido, and 83 out in Ramona. The mountains and deserts will also take on a more notable warming trend in that they've got 80s across the board. Even Campo looking at a high of 88 this afternoon. Low pressure is helping to keep today as a little bit more mild of a day, but nonetheless, we're predominantly under the influence of that high pressure, and it's going to have a lot more influence over us in the coming days. So again, Wednesday, Thursday, additional boosts in temperatures, and then starting on Friday through early next week, those temperatures will begin to slide. Widespread 50s and 60s out the door right now with that gloom, and like I mentioned, we'll get that boost and then subsequent drop in temperatures by the weekend and early next week. A lot of extended models seem to show more warming beyond that. So a bit of a roller coaster ride out there. 6:10, let's check in on traffic. Couple spots we want to take you to. First one is in the Santee area. This is a disabled vehicle. So stalled vehicle out there, right-hand shoulder in Santee on the 52 westbound at Mission Gorge, the eastbound exit there. Down to the South Bay, this has been in play for the last half hour or so. Still trying to get more information, but not causing any major backups in either direction. We've got an accident blocking the off-ramp partially in San Ysidro on the 805 northbound. This is to San Ysidro Boulevard, where you might run into some minor delays. Live look outside at the northbound 805. This is just south of the 163. Looking good. Northbound lanes starting to see more volume this morning. Southbound lanes still pretty quiet this morning. So we hope you're all safe on this gloomy start to the day. Be prepared for a little bit of fog out in the Ramona area. Checking in on border wait times at 6:11. It is a 120-minute wait at the San Ysidro Port of Entry. Otay Mesa Port of Entry should be able to get across about a half hour quicker. Only going to take you about 90 minutes to get across there.